I'm waving through a window that I've seen 10 times before. Where's the show that offers more? 2, 3, 4. Give me a little new music. How about a little new music? Too much time with the news has got me feeling news sick. Let's try a little new music.
This is the first time I'm premiering Mansplaining, my song from Glass Ceilings. A Little New Music is such a wonderful place to premiere a new musical theater.
I think it's great to introduce, my stuff to a new audience and also be part of a community that both values new musical theater and also supports it.
I had a song and a concert, and it felt like a really safe audience that really was in tune with what I was trying to say.
I came from the Bronx to come sing here. I'm singing Dance Floor. It's a new song from the Broadway show Talk to Me.
The song I get to perform tonight is called The Only Straight Boy in the Room, which really spoke to me.
I am singing a new song, Karner and Gregor's song called Fractured Fairy Tale. It's really exciting because we get to put our spin on it, and you're really a part of that process too, of bringing a show to reality.
Best talent in town, the best writers around the globe. It's not a casual cabaret, it's a highly produced concert.
This is my first time seeing A Little New Music. It gives you a little taste of what's new and what's to come, and it just makes me excited because I want to see every single show now.
I really think people need to come and experience hearing songs that have not been performed before. There's something incredible about hearing it for the first time.
Ballads, up-tempos, jazzy tunes, old school Broadway type of songs. Sometimes like the next Sondheim shows up, and you get to be a part of that.
Let's try a little new music. Come on, guys. Let's try a little new music. A little new music.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Yes, I hope you have your drinks in hand. It is Fat Tuesday. It is Mardi Gras. It is also a Little New Music Spotlight series. My name is Keela. I'm one of our volunteer producers here. So A Little New Music started around 8 years ago. And since then, we've featured over 150 writers and writing teams. And now with our 7th of our Spotlight series, we are showcasing writers one at a time.
That's right, Keela. Hello, everyone, and happy Mardi Gras. My name is Luke, and I'm also one of our co-producers, and we are thrilled to have y'all back with us tonight as we continue to share incredible new music.
Now, before we get started, we will humbly ask for your support. As you know, before the pandemic, your tickets to our shows paid for the band and the crew and the writers and our performers. And so now in this virtual space, we simply ask you to contribute online, which goes directly to our writers and performers. So please, at any time, you're welcome to scan the QR code on your screen and support new musical theater here in LA. Where is it? Is it here yet? Oh, there it is. Hello.
Well, we are an all-volunteer effort. We do like to give something to our writers and performers. And in addition to your support, we also want to thank 2 incredible organizations for their support, the ASCAP Foundation and New Musicals Incorporated.
Of course. Also, since we are live tonight, folks, I could prove that it's live. Does that prove it?
Prove it.
We invite you to ask questions for our writer, a writer that I'm very excited about. And at any time, just type your questions into the live chat, and you never know, your question may get asked.
Yeah, about that guest, Keela, let's bring her on. We are very excited to have with us tonight Anna Jacobs. Anna's credits include Teeth, Pop, Harmony, Kansas, and many, many more.
And if that wasn't enough, she wrote the music and lyrics for the movie musical Kaya, A Taste of Paradise. She's a very prolific writer here.
Y'all, let's welcome Anna Jacobs to the show.
Come on in, Anna. Take your bow.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, guys. Great to see you. Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you. And you never know, there may be people from all over the world. There might even be people from down under watching us live.
Oh, that would be nice.
Totally. So Anna, we're welcoming you to our Spotlight series. And in addition to all the wonderful work that you've done, you were also the recipient of the 2020 Jonathan Larson Award for New Musical Theater Composition. I do hope that our audience members know who Jonathan Larson was, the late and great Jonathan Larson, writer of Tick, Tick, Boom and Rent fame.
And more important than any of all that, Anna, your songs have graced the A Little New Music stage 2 times. So I have to ask.
Twice charmed.
What's that?
Twice charmed.
So I have to ask, what inspires you to write music?
Well, I grew up in a very musical family, and it's how I express myself. And I kind of found my way to musical theater. I took the long route there. I was a classical composer for a long time, and I came to the United States. I'm Australian, by the way. That's why I sound this way.
Oh, okay.
And I came to the United States to further my studies in classical music, and I found myself in Bloomington, Indiana, where I was collaborating with a bunch of opera singers, and one of them was like, "Hey, you really want to be writing musicals, not classical music?" And I was like, "I do, but people don't do that, do they?" And they're like, "No, they do." And they told me about this program at NYU that I went to, the Graduate Musical Theater Writing Program. And the second I started that program, I knew it was exactly where I was meant to be, being able to sort of take all of my different passions, being the extrovert that I am, people and collaboration and storytelling and, gossip, and like infusing that with music. That was totally my jam.
Fantastic. Well, Anna, as Luke mentioned, your songs have graced the A Little New Music stage twice throughout the years. So we're going to take a moment to go back in time a bit and watch a clip of one of them. Can you tell us a little bit about this song, Lullaby, sung by the Surrey Rose Baron?
Sure. So Lullaby is a song that I wrote and then cut from my musical Echo, but now it sort of lives as a standalone song. And I wanted to write a song for a new mother who didn't automatically possess maternal, instincts, or does not think that she automatically possesses maternal instincts when she has her new baby. And I wrote it before I myself became a mother, and funnily enough, I still to this day hear the song and I'm like, there is a lot of truth in that song. I must be be able to read the future or something. And I love this performance by Surrey Rose. And I think she's also a mother, which is a cool connection.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to hear it. Let's see the song.
Pink little puppy, little alien spawn of mine. They said I'd loosen up, that it's part and parcel of the mothering biz. But based on my vagina, I'd say I've loosened up enough as is. That little fluffy little alien spawn of mine. They say to get my strength back, I should catnap through the night. But how can I relax when I can't get one bit of mommy business right? I can't make you laugh. I can't make you coo. I can't origami wrap you in a blankie to my chest. I can't stop your drool. I can't stop your poo. I can't stop you from devouring my saggy milkless breast. So my pink little puffy little alien infant girl, aren't you thrilled that I gave parenting a whirl? No? Yes?
Thank you so much for that, Anna. we're going to ask you some questions, but before we do, we want to remind our audience who are offering their comments and thoughts in the chat. If you have questions for Anna, please type them into the live chat, and we may bring them up and ask them of her on our show. So Anna, in addition to Lullaby, you had a song on our stage from your show, Teeth, which you wrote with Michael R. Jackson. Could you tell us a little bit more about the show and your collaboration with Michael?
Yeah. So my collaboration with Michael began, we were friends. He was at NYU a few years ahead of me, and we hung out a lot. We loved each other's work. We, go to each other's concerts and shows. And he approached me and said, hey, there's this indie cult film that I think should be adapted into a musical. And I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this, I can't even imagine how to make this a musical, but it's a crazy idea. And so our show is about a young heroine, Dawn. She's a teenager, and she's also the leader of a teen abstinence group called the Promise Keeper Girls. And she discovers a little of the ways into the story that she has teeth in her vagina, which, as you know, we were talking about this last night. There is a sort of in Freudian psychology, people talk about vagina dentata, this fear of women having a toothed vagina, and it comes up a lot in folklore as well, and mythology. And so we took this film and we sort of transported it into the present day of, 20, I guess last time we worked on it was in 2019. So 2019, we kind of also using it as this wild and funny vehicle to sort of have some more serious conversations around sexual violence and the right for a person to have autonomy over their own bodies. And it's a project that I just love working on because I love working with Michael so much.
Incredible. Well, we could have a whole other show about vagina dentata, but let's move on. I'm just so curious to know, having lived in New York, pre-pandemic, obviously, what was it like being in such a hotbed of musical theater mecca and collaborating with such wonderful artists?
It was amazing. I came all the way from another country to be able to do this, to be able to have a community. And I think right now I miss the things that I used to take for granted. Like when you would walk along 8th Avenue past the block where all the rehearsal studios are, and you'd see everybody and there'd be people running between auditions and rehearsals. That was my favorite thing. But I also appreciate the fact that, opportunities like this have created, the ability for people to stay in touch and still be creative, and also like to be able to involve folks who aren't New York based too and create more accessibility.
Love that. Yeah, that is something to be missing out on, and to look forward to when we're through this, whatever this is. I think we had a question from our audience. Do we want to bring that up, or?
Sure.
So Chris Baldwin asks, Anna, who is your biggest musical influence?
Oh, I have so many. I'm somebody who has very eclectic taste. If you looked at my iTunes, you'd be like, ooh, she's all over the shop. I named my son Lenny after Leonard Bernstein. I mean, I'm a big Leonard Bernstein fan. And I love in terms of musical theater specifically, I love artists who kind of live in an in-between place between, art song and pop song and opera and musical theater. And that Audra McDonald Way Back to Paradise album, the blue one, was the thing that I think I heard that and I was like, oh, wait, people write in that way and make music that sounds like that. I really identify with that because I was a little bit of a fish out of water when I inhabited more of a classical world because I love pop music so much. And it was when I realized that people could sort of have their cake and eat it too and live in both worlds that I found a place for myself.
Love that. Eric Cornwall asks, in what ways does classical composition training support musical theater writing? Is that a common path?
It's one path. Yeah, I mean, so right now I'm writing a movie musical with Rob Rakicki, who was on last week, and he comes from like a singer-songwriter background and a sort of a pop rock background, and but we connect creatively in so many ways. It's a movie musical, and I'm writing the screenplay for that project. I think that for me, because I love pop music, I tend to write songs that sound pretty poppy, but I like to sort of exercise my classical chops in like how I create the piano arrangements, or how I sort of push the singer or the performer to be as virtuosic as possible and explore different parts of their range, and then in how if I'm doing my own orchestrations, how I orchestrate them. So yeah, I like pull those skills in, but like my stuff definitely sounds pretty poppy.
It's cool to hear you talk about it that way, though, because you could hear that even in just that little clip we got of Lullaby, some of the sort of classical motifs sort of playing in that. That's an awesome skill to sort of be able to bring to bear to this craft.
Little Brahms, little Bernstein.
I mean, I want my music, when I'm writing a musical, I want my score to sound like the world of the musical and the story of the musical and the characters of the musical. So the more range that I have with my own voice and my ability to sort of be influenced by different styles, the more true I can be to that world of those characters. So I like when I'm writing different shows, I do want to have my artistic stamp on them, but I also, part of what I love about it is like disappearing into the sound and of that world, and also finding a way to marry my voice with my collaborator's voice on that project, which is why I work with playwrights so frequently.
Well, speaking of your new music that you're crafting, our mission in Little New Music is to keep bringing new and unheard musical theater to our audience. So we're excited to see something now that you just wrote that literally is available to our audience for the very first time. It's never before been seen by anyone. Could you tell us just a bit about the song and help set it up for us?
Yeah, so this song is from a musical that I am in the middle of writing with the wonderful playwright Anna Ziegler. It's a commission for the producers Barbara Whitman and Beth Williams. And we are, our inspiration is a real life person who lived in the 1920s and 1930s, a woman named Barbara Newhall Follett, and she was a child prodigy author. She had her first book published when she was 12 years old, and it had a lot of critical acclaim. And in that book called The House Without Windows, she wrote about wanting to disappear, and specifically wanting to disappear and become part of nature. She was in love with nature, and it was her inspiration. And she wrote other stories that had to do with disappearing as well. And then at the age of 25, she disappeared, and her case still hasn't been solved to this day. And it was this very strange situation of sort of life imitating art, or perhaps the other way around. We don't know. Anna and I found it very compelling. And this song comes early in the show because that's where we are in the writing of the show right now. And it's the first time she meets her future husband, Nick. She is 18 years old, and they are supposed to be meeting up with two friends to go hiking, and they're at the trailhead. It's dusk in November. The last train has left for the night, and then they discover that their two friends are not there, and there is only one tent.
Amazing, amazing. Okay. Well, this is a Little New Music, and we are staying on brand, folks. So this is hot off the presses. This is Get in the Tent, Nick, featuring the very talented couple Elise Allen Lewis and Eric William Morris. Let's check it out.
Well, we're attracted to each other, aren't we?
I suppose I may have noticed that your hair is nice.
Yes, it's quite thick. Nuisance to wash, though. What else?
I suppose that mischievous smile of yours isn't half bad.
I'll take that as a half compliment.
I suppose I'm attracted to muscular women like you. you.
Thank you.
But attraction or no, I'm no dime store Lothario. And I try to avoid doing things I'll come to repent. So tonight I'll just sleep on the ground, underneath the few ferns that I found, while you sleep on your own, safe and sound. Inside the tent.
You won't sleep at all.
I'll be fine.
The best way to get warm is to generate heat with our bodies.
If I double up on this fern, I can add another layer, see?
Drop the act and stop behaving nonchalant, Nick. It's the middle of November in Vermont, Nick. The north wind is blowing, I hardly feel my toes, and a teeny tiny stalactite is dangling from your nose. You are blood and bile and pus and tears inside, Nick. Just liquid trapped inside a hairy hide, Nick. And if that liquid starts to freeze, I'll be terribly ill at ease. So you have my consent, Nick, to get in the tent, Nick.
Barbara, you're 18.
And?
I'm 25.
You've stated 2 facts. Bravo.
If you choose to share a tent with a man who's 25, you're consciously playing with fire. 'Cause if you choose to share a tent with a man who's 25, that man could lose his grip on his desire.
So?
So I'd be taking advantage of you.
Who's to say I wouldn't be taking advantage of you?
I'm fairly certain that's not how it works.
And why not?
Because you're a woman. And women are...
What? Emotional? Fragile? Prone to getting deeply attached before there's really anything to attach to?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Drop the condescending tone or take a hike, Nick. I'm aware of what most average men are like, Nick. They come across as stoic, all brains and all brawn, but that's just their way of covering up what's really going on. You are hope and love and loss and fear inside, Nick. Just feelings trapped inside a rugged hide, Nick. And furthermore, I don't believe you have the guts to love me and leave me alone to vent, Nick. So get in the tent, Nick. We are just bodies in need of other bodies. Once all the bells and whistles are wiped away, all of the ego, all of the shame, all of the limits we set whenever we play that old game, where we pretend that men and women aren't essentially the same. So be a pillar of politeness if you want, Nick. Wallow in your sense of rightness all you want, Nick. But if you perish in the snow, your fault, not mine, I told you so. You'd say you're fine, Nick, but you're not fine, Nick. You seem in pain, Nick, not to mention insane, Nick. In there it's nice, Nick, and free of ice, Nick. So my intent, Nick, is to make you relent, Nick, and get in the tent, Nick. Get in the tent, Nick.
All right. Jeez.
But first take your boots off.
Listen, before we do this, let me just say I actually do really like you.
Just get in the tent, Nick.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm obsessed with those two. They're a real life couple, and like watching them play a couple is just like fascinating for me.
She's amazing. I had the privilege of seeing her in Soft Power here in Los Angeles. So.
Yes, she was Hillary Clinton. She was amazing. I saw her in New York do it, and she was incredible.
Anna, that was absolutely delightful. And given sort of your lead-in for the show and the song, it's sort of like could have gone any which way. Honestly, I'm curious. We'll take our audience questions in a moment. That we've seen. There's a couple questions that come in. If you have your questions, let us know. But you know, the description you offered of this person and her life, and you know, it's kind of mysterious and almost dark. But then this song is sort of light and humorous and funny. Is there something about humor that you sort of like to sort of weave into your storytelling and your songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite types of musicals to write and also to watch are musicals that tackle like darker subject material, but like get you into the story through humor and help make it accessible to you through humor. And like Teeth is very much like that. And you know, my favorite musical is Sweeney Todd, and Sweeney Todd is like that. And like I feel like I need to be able to have the release of humor in a musical, but like I love stuff that's grounded in like weighty or complex or difficult topics too.
Nice. Do we have audience questions for you?
Yeah, let's take some questions. All right, so Keith Anthony asks, what's your biggest challenge as an artist during these tough times?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've been very fortunate, I want to say first, in many ways. I feel like, I've had projects with structure and deadlines, collaborators to hold me accountable. I just moved house, but before I moved house, I had a little shed. My landlady had a shed in the backyard that I was able to work in that gave me space. So there are many ways that I have been fortunate and therefore still being able to be productive during these times. But, you know, something that inspires me is like functioning as part of a community IRL, you know, and like being able to go to other people to enjoy other people's music. And like for me, like consuming through my computer is such a solitary experience. And it doesn't quite move me emotionally the way that like sitting in a cabaret space with a drink in my hand does, and you know, really feeling viscerally that I'm part of a human community. But so I miss gatherings. I guess that is my very long-winded way of saying I miss gatherings. But yeah, you know, as much as possible, still trying to maintain those communities, you know, through the internet is good. And Michael and I and our dear friend Marcia Sare, who I'm sure you know as well, she's an amazing songwriter, and Chris Miller of Miller and Tyson. Sometimes we have these like 4-way Zoom calls, which is just like so fun to be able to like get together with a bunch of musical theater friends and just like chat about musical theater nonsense for a while.
You know, that all is so true. And honestly, one of the things that resonates for me, though, is that, you know, we've got folks participating with us tonight from across the country and even from Australia. And like with someone we couldn't do, and we're, you know, just doing a live show. But yeah, you're right about just missing sort of the like being with people.
Yeah, totally.
Bree Johns asks, how does it feel when premiering new songs? Exciting, vulnerable?
Oh,
in other words, how do you feel
say
now?
I feel more nervous earlier on. Like when I gave Elise and Eric that song first, like that's when I was nervous. I was like, will it work? I don't know if it's going to work. And then they did it. I was like, I think it's okay. I think I feel good about it. So by the time it's like, you know, ready to like show people, I have made an assessment for myself. So I feel excited and not too scared. And also, I'm my own worst critic, so anything that anybody says about the song isn't going to be as harsh as what I'm saying to myself in my head. So tonight I was very excited. Oh, I should also mention that speaking of collaboration in pandemic times, my friend Andrew Zinsmeister orchestrated that track that you heard tonight. And so it was just another opportunity to be able to, you know, be creative with collaborators and keep that going.
It's interesting talking about collaborators because, you know, Stephen Sondheim, this is my nephew Kane, by the way.
Hi, Kane.
Stephen Sondheim was asked, you know, why don't you write the book to a play, or why don't you write plays? And he said, you know, he said, you know, writing a play is very hard. And plus, I love the art of collaboration too much.
Yeah, I mean, I do write book music and lyrics. I would say that I found my way to book later than I kind of went music, lyrics, book. But I guess I could hypothetically write things on my own, but I don't particularly want to. And my process in starting new projects is generally I find a person who I really want to work with, and then the project comes from the collaboration, like what can we both connect over and be jazzed by? And that's how my project with Anna Ziegler came about. And like really part of it, for me, part of what's exciting in collaboration is like trying to figure out what my collaborator's voice is and like what makes them tick, and then trying to like tap into that myself with my music or my script or whatever contribution I'm bringing.
That's so cool. And Chris Baldwin asks, Anna, do you draw inspiration from anywhere in particular when songwriting?
The thing to say that's coming off the top of my head is that for me, songwriting has a lot to do with perspective and like zooming in on something and then zooming out and zooming in and zooming out. So like I have to often, because when I'm writing a song, I get like really deep in it. I like won't allow myself a pee break for like 5 hours. Like I'm just like really in it, you know, like dots on a page, you know, and sometimes I have to pull back and reflect on it and like think about it, especially when I'm composing a song that's part of a bigger score for a whole show. Like I have to think about how it's working in the scheme of things. Mm-hmm. And so getting into nature is huge for me, especially the ocean. I grew up on a beach in Sydney, Australia, and I'm used, you know, I just, when I look at the ocean, I like feel like very centered and like I know my place in the world. So being in nature, whether that's Prospect Park or the water, and also just exercise. I love running, and like if I'm working on a song, I'll like make a really quick and nasty little MIDI mix of what I've composed so far, and then I'll put it on my earbuds and I'll go for a run and I'll listen to it and think about it, and then I'll like have all of these breakthroughs when I go back to keep working on it.
Drew Fornarola, who you might have heard of, so asked us, how much of your work is so funny? Do you have influences as comedy as well as in music?
It's so nice of you to say, Drew, because I like something that I worry about is that I'm not funny. But then I think that like I think when I'm able to be humorous, it's because I'm tapping into like things that are true. They're funny because they're true. Or like you recognize something in a character that you recognize in yourself or someone you know, and that makes it funny. And so that's sort of the type of humor I like as well. Like, just like anything where like it's funny because it's true humor.
That's awesome. You know, I don't know if we have any more audience questions. No, I don't think we do, but we have a few more questions for you, Anna.
That's fine, because we got plenty more questions for you, Anna.
Okay.
So we asked these of all of our Spotlight series writers. So Anna, are you ready for your Spotlight?
I'm ready.
What was the very first musical you ever saw?
Starlight Express.
Starlight Express.
Oh my God, it made the hugest impression on me. I saw it in a big top in the middle of the Australian summer. It was so hot and sticky. I poured Coca-Cola down my shirt thinking it would cool me off. It just made me sticky. And it was just like, I think I played the cast album nonstop for like, it might have been like a whole calendar year. I'm sure I drove my parents crazy.
You're very fortunate to have seen that production. As you know, it didn't last very long. Although in London, it played almost 7,000 performances. But in America, other than Canada, we didn't really get to see much of Starlight Express. So,
yeah, it was an event.
Okay.
So the next question, I'm just going to ignore the comment that appeared on the bottom of the screen. Anna, who would you drop everything to go see perform live? And they could be someone who is with us or no longer with us.
So I was kind of saying that like going to see live music is part of my normal existence. and like being able to go and see artists whose albums I'm really into at any given point in time is like something that makes me so happy. And there are these two albums that have really got me through the pandemic. One is an album by Gabriel Kahane, who you might know. He wrote the score for February House that was at the Public, but he's also just like this amazing singer-songwriter. And he had, I found his album, The Book of Travelers, in maybe April or May. And I would give anything to see him perform that album live. And Stu Minderman, who is the pianist for Kurt Elling, the jazz singer. And my husband got me into his original music. I think he grew up in Cuba, and his music kind of fuses Cuban influences with more traditional jazz influences. And it's like unbelievable. And I would give my right arm to see him play live as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for our final question, Anna, who is going to play you in the movie musical version of your life or theater?
So do I have to pick someone Australian? Is that a requirement?
No, it doesn't have to be Nicole Kidman.
Or Ruthie Henschel.
What was that?
Or Ruthie Henschel.
Okay. Well, I want to say Elise. I think that Elise understands my very unique brand of I was going to call myself neurotic, which is not nice, but she understands me very well, and I feel that she would be able to interpret me very well.
Well,
phenomenal. Go ahead, Keela.
It always helps to have a personal connection with someone that's good at.
Bryant's suggesting Kylie Minogue.
Ooh.
Oh. I'll take that.
I mean, aim for the stars.
There's also Toni Collette.
Yes, Toni Collette.
Well, before we go, we want to thank you for being with us tonight. But is there anything more that you want to tell us about what's coming up for you, what you're working on?
I can tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rob and I are working away on our movie musical. It's called The Real Gemma Jordan. It's about an influencer who discovers that her identity has been stolen and goes to track down the person who is behind it. And that is a commission for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and they are shooting that in May. So we are about to make a movie musical. And then I'm just working on my musical with Anna, and, hopefully we will have something in a full version to share very soon.
Well, just be glad that you're not in Nebraska right now. Last I heard, the wind chill was minus 11.
That's cold.
It's chilly.
And you don't mean Celsius, you mean Fahrenheit.
Oh, right. Speaking of Nebraska, my Aunt Cheryl Dahl, who lives in Lincoln, Nebraska, is asking for fun. If you could play any role in Cats, who would it be?
Oh, no, I'm going to... Okay, so Aunt Cheryl, I apologize, but I do not know Cats very well.
Let's just not your Andrew Lloyd Webber music.
I'll be the Taylor Swift one. Which one is that?
She was... she sang the theme song.
Okay.
In the credits, which was a new song written by Weber. But I would just say, Grisabella, because you get to sing Memory. I mean, who doesn't?
Oh, I'll be that one.
Yeah, people. That one.
Go Huskers.
Okay.
All right. So, okay.
All right. Well, Anna, I think we need to go.
But before that, you can, to our audience members, you can watch Anna's songs, many of the others that have been performed on our A Little New Music stage at our YouTube page. Just go to youtube.com/ALittleNewMusic.
That's right, Keela. And also, please, if you can, support A Little New Music using the QR code that is on your screen right there next to Keela. Your contributions, as we've mentioned previously, but they help us compensate our Spotlight Series performers and writers, including Anna.
Of course. We also want to give a shout out to the team working behind the curtain tonight that will help make tonight possible. Let's bring out A Little New Music executive producer, Spotlight Series executive producer, Amy Francis Scott. Come on out, Amy. Take a bow.
Hi, thanks, y'all. And thanks so much, Anna, for coming. Happy Mardi Gras. It only comes but once a year. So I'm so excited that this series is continuing, and I'm so excited to have Anna on as a guest because I just love what you do. Speaking of people that we love, coming up in 2 weeks on March the 2nd, we are going to have McGuire and Simon, who we featured a couple of times, and they will have something brand new for us as well. I also wanted to say a quick thanks to Ryan Baldwin, who is our StreamYard guru. He taught me everything I know, but not everything he knows. And Travis Leland, who's been chatting with you all, giving you all the links so you can click on them and find out more, and being just super, super awesome. Thank you guys, and yay.
And in case anyone didn't catch it, Amy said 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be right back here. Same bat station, same bat channel, same bat time. And you get to join us with a whole new show. As ever, we also want to give a special shout out to Peter Welkin and Chris Makish for their steadfast support of all of our work.
And of course, we also want to thank the ASCAP Foundation and New Musicals Incorporated, who are great supporters of our work. If you don't know what ASCAP Foundation means, just Google it.
Anna, thank you again for being with us tonight.
This was really fun.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, folks. Follow us on Facebook, and
have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.